Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi. I feel like we both said hi in like a very like.
We did. In
Hi.
that Karen Sharp voice.
Yes.
That we talked about in
like-
season 1.
Yes.
Hi, welcome to Script Daddy. I am your host, Colin.
And I'm your host, Carly.
And here at Script Daddy, we read scripts, watch the movies, and discuss the differences between script and screen.
Yes, we do.
And we do it in a really sultry voice.
We do.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I hear these back, I feel like I sound like I have like dead voice where I'm like, duh, blah, blah.
I definitely felt that in season 1 with
About
myself.
me?
No, with myself. With myself. Because there was one episode where I was tired and I just was not giving.
But even when I'm not tired, I feel like I just like sometimes just really default to like, but I'm going to not do that because I have energy.
Energy. I had a Celsius an hour ago.
I thought you said those sometimes work, sometimes don't. Or do they always work?
But that on certain days. Today it's doing its job. I've noticed that if I have it a little bit sooner, it really like kicks in, like levels out about an hour later. And it's like really like I can implement the energy better.
Guess what I dared to try again the other day and I didn't lose my mind?
What?
Matcha.
Okay.
Now, granted, I literally, I had just eaten my salad and my salad had a lot of nutrition in it. So I was full bellied. Then I got an iced matcha.
Okay.
So I imagined like, for some reason I was telling myself it being iced was going to mean it wasn't as strong.
Okay.
I didn't short circuit.
I'm convinced that matcha is one of the most successful government psyops that's ever been done.
How so?
Because it's awful and it reacts with my body in terrible ways and people love it.
No, but Colin,
and I just think that people are convincing themselves that they love it, kind of like cantaloupe. And you know my gripe with cantaloupe.
I also don't like it. I'll eat it, but I won't enjoy it.
Almost everyone I know loves matcha and like matcha desserts.
She's having her
like,
absolute moment.
A
Matcha
sweetgrass dessert? I don't think so, honey.
Here's my thing. I do like matcha, but my body does not really like matcha. I've told you if I have even a smidge too much, I'll vomit. Like it's that
do you know my story with matcha?
You threw up, didn't you?
Yes, I've had it 3 times in my life. 2 out of those 3 times I vomited immediately afterwards.
So fast.
But those 2 times that I vomited, I made it myself, and I think I made it way too potent,
too strong,
and I drank it way too fast.
Okay, next time we go to Fable,
I drink everything fast, you know.
So do I. Next time we go to Fable, that's one of their things. So then maybe just have a sipsies of mine because I was scared too. Because again, I'm not even trying to drink matcha again all the time. I just like sometimes I like to see where I'm at with caffeine. It's a very abusive relationship, and so I was like, I just would like a little matcha. And they're making Fable's drinks are like bougie. Matruzi, they're so delish. And Colin, do this. I said to her, she wasn't really vibing with me being like a silly little goose. And I was like, sometimes people are just not in the mood for silly gooseness.
No.
Because I said to her, I was like, hey, I've been wanting to try one of these drinks because they look incredible. They have like these stunning photos up of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, but caffeine makes me feel like I'm going to die. And she just like looked at me and was like,
what do you want?
And I was like, I'm obnoxious.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
So I said, and she goes, well, I can do it half caffeine. And I said, great. I'm going to do that. And I said, should I make a note? Because you like order it on the app. And she's like, no. And I was like, okay. And so it was half caffeine. I forgot that part. So maybe perchance if you were going to try, it's iced and half caffeine. Okay. But you don't like the taste.
I don't.
But these are none of them. I don't think they do any plain matchas. They're all like sesame. They're all these like, I got.
Black sesame matcha I would try.
That,
I like black sesame.
They have that. The one I had was something sweet in there and it was absolutely delicious.
Well, I do just really want to remind you really quickly that you can't actually have a truly decaf dirty chai. Just in case you forgot.
The OGs from season 1
the OGs will know.
That a dirty chai can never be decaf.
But all this talk about vomit is making me think of the movie that we're doing today.
What a strange segue.
You know what else I realized?
What?
We always announce the title as if people haven't clicked the episode and seen exactly what it is.
I know, it's just like fun to like hype
we have to because
but like it is silly because we announce them before.
There's no way to hide it. There's no way to hide it. But today, what are we doing?
Jennifer's body, Jennifer's body.
Body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. Barfing up like goo and killing all my friends. Megan Thee Stallion would never barf up black prickly glue,
which was Hershey's syrup, by the way.
Friend.
Which I was like, what, did they put black ink in it? Because it did not look like that.
Oh, I was wondering if they used actual Faro fluid to get the spiky effect. Because that looks like what Faro fluid does.
But I'm sure.
No, I mean, hey, I trust you. I trust the
lore.
Yeah.
So we decided to do Jennifer's body.
We sure did. It's been in the ether for a while with us.
And I had such a complex experience with this. This podcast continues to be, every time I think it's going to be one thing, it's the other thing. I feel like so often, and all in the most like stunning way though. But I really thought this was going to be like a real simple one for some reason, because I knew, although I hadn't seen the movie and probably since it came out, I knew that I really liked the movie.
Yeah.
But I forgot almost everything about it other than feeling of I liked
really
this movie.
How many times have you seen it?
I honestly think maybe once or twice. Like,
okay,
that's it.
Okay.
But Johnny Simmons, who is the boyfriend in it, I was a very good friend for a while.
Don't you know the guy that plays Colin as well or something? Or was he was the boyfriend? Okay. I knew
Johnny's the boyfriend.
I knew you knew someone.
Chip.
I thought you knew two of them.
Johnny, nicest guy. I haven't seen him in a long time. In fact, it made me go like, I need to like find out where Johnny is these days. But like, nicest human. So I think when it came out, it was more of like, oh, my friend's in a movie.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy the movie. And then like I said, I might have seen it once since then, but a long time ago, because I really didn't remember very many details. I just remember liking it. Still like it, but it made the experience of reading the script and then watching it again different than I thought it was going to be. So
yeah, interesting. It was, I had the most layered experience I've had with it as well, because this is one of my favorite horror movies. I've seen it so many times.
Like how many?
If I had to guess, I'd say low end 7 times.
What?
It's a very specific number to say, just guessing, but that would be my low end. But it's probably more around between 10 to 15 times.
Colleen.
Because you know me, when I like a
this
movie,
is your steez.
When I like a movie, I watch it over and over and over and over because I just love it. And then I have movies that I'll only watch during Halloween time. I have seasonal movies, and that's one of my seasonal rotations for Halloween time. And I remember when it came out, my brother Trevor and I went to see it in Westwood in LA, and we both immediately loved it. We're dying, loved. We couldn't wait to see it from the trailer, and we were like, oh my God, yes, loved it. And then the reception for it was people did not like it, and I was always like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And so I've watched it so many times over the years, but this is the first time. So I've read the script before.
Okay.
But like 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
Because I was just reading scripts, just, like we do, reading scripts. And I loved that movie, so I always read it. And I remember back then liking the script a lot. But this time, looking at it with more of a like fine-tooth comb critical eye, I definitely saw a lot more and felt a lot more conflicting feelings because I love the movie so much that to look at it with a critical eye felt like endangering in a way.
That makes
like
total
endangering
sense.
My truth.
Yeah.
And so you'll see when I read my my script thing after reading the script and after watching the movie, they're kind of contradictory. It's a little odd.
This is what I mean. Is like I have a lot
actually.
Of conflicting, or not even. I guess I have a lot of contradicting feelings about it. Some of the things I love about it also at times frustrated me about it,
Totally.
and it was weird to feel that way.
Right.
Because I do ultimately really like this movie.
It's so fun. It's its own little thing.
It's so original. It's so. There's so many good things to say about it that there was almost a part of me that was feeling like a little in my head about critiquing it in any way, but I know us and we only critique in a way that is like expansive in conversation and interesting to consider, that I was like, no, this is going to be so much fun. But it was more so strange to be sitting with myself and going like, how do I have so many contradicting feelings right now?
For real.
So let's get into it.
Dive in.
Jennifer's Body, 2009.
Girl, yes.
What?
Is that the year we met? No, that's the year after we met. We had known each other for 1 year at that point.
Oh,
wow,
little babies. That's crazy to think about. Okay, the logline. Don't hold your breath. That's not the logline, but a newly possessed high school cheerleader. Oh, sorry, let me get closer to the mic. A newly possessed high school cheerleader turns into a succubus who specializes in killing her male classmates. Can her best friend put an end to the horror? ? Are loglines allowed to end in question marks now?
I would argue that if it's a great logline that ends in a question mark, it could heighten the logline and make it really interesting.
Sure,
this isn't the case here because I don't know where IMDb gets these loglines, for lack of a better word. But
and to be fair, what you just said applies to all of screenwriting. If you do it really well, it doesn't matter what you do most of the time.
Have you listened to any other episodes of Script Daddy? Because yes,
but I've not seen that before. So it just kind of like
I have. I'm trying. No, yeah, but it is cool.
The director is Catherine. I believe her last name is Kusama. She's done a lot. She has a very impressive career.
I noticed her name, but I wanted to IMDb her, but I just didn't. What else has she done?
Like a lot of.
Hell yeah.
I can pull it up, but it's impressive. Written by Diablo Cody, starring Amanda Seyfried, Megan Fox, Adam Brody. Budget was $16 million.
Okay.
Gross was $31.6 million worldwide.
Oh, so it did ultimately make its budget back, but
worldwide, yeah. Because I think they were saying like here it pretty much.
Really
I think it made what they spent here.
I remember
it was split down the middle.
A big flop, and it pissed me the fuck off.
But it's like. And it pisses me off too because again I am always like I like big swings and I like original like and that will always make me forgive other things that might annoy me.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time I also kind of see how specifically back in 2009 I do think we'll get into the trivia a little bit where they talk about the mismarketing. I do think it was mismarketing,
that was in the
but
trivia,
I also think that I don't know how they totally would have marketed this.
It was kind of ahead of its time with the themes.
It was.
I think if they had more squarely marketed it towards women and gay men, it probably would have been bigger because it is such a cult hit with gay men. Like gay men ride for this movie, myself included.
I think queer women as well, like from the trivia because of their kind of will they, won't they.
There's a lot of sapphic themes in it. So.
Totally. Okay, the trivia. Jennifer's last name, Czech, was only ever meant to be a placeholder when Diablo Cody wrote the script, but it wound up staying in the final film.
I love that because reading it this time, I was like, wait, why is her last name Czech?
But low-key, obsessed.
Yeah.
Like, I was like...
Love.
I weirdly, absolutely love that. To date, Megan Fox claims that Jennifer's Body is her favorite film she's ever done, which... how could it not be, though?
Exactly.
I mean, like, what a... I definitely feel like what Diablo Cody, opened for her, and then watching interviews with them talking about it, it made me feel for Megan Fox that she hasn't had more characters where people trust her to have range with it.
Yeah.
Because she to get ahead of myself for a second, she brought things to this character that do not exist without her.
Thank you. Yes, we'll get into it.
We'll get into it. So,
yes.
So it doesn't surprise me that she feels that way because it really should have been a showcasing film for her that got her more roles of that, whatever. But, okay. The Devil's Kettle Falls is a real waterfall located in Judge C.R. Magny State Park in Minnesota.
Wow.
It really is a waterfall that flows into a large pothole, which has led to countless speculation about where it drains. People have thrown all sorts of things into it and they never seem to resurface.
That's fun. I love that.
I love that that's a real thing. Okay, so I watched the rest of the trivia online was not much. So I watched an interview with Diablo and Megan that was 10 years after or something like that.
I saw some clips from that too.
And these were the main nuggets. Diablo is a huge horror fan, and because Juno was so successful for her, she was free to do whatever she wanted for her next film, and she said that's a freedom she has not enjoyed since. That it was.
You can also see that on the page.
100% agree.
I think to get ahead of myself, just some very light guardrails could have really benefited this movie.
I totally agree. She said she wanted it to be because Megan said what was where did this come from for you? And she was like, I honestly don't know other than I am such a fan of horror and I knew I wanted to shoot my shot at it and that she wanted it to be female focused, female friendship, and she wanted a woman who eats boys. Those were her main criteria.
A literal man eater.
Totally.
It's genius. It's so tongue in cheek in the most Diablo Cody way. I love.
Totally. She said that they read a lot of Girls for Needy, but it was always Megan Fox for Jennifer, mainly because of her mystique. And I thought, what a great word to give her, because
does have mystique.
Someone else would have just been lazy and been because you're sex appeal and you're da-da. But it wasn't just that. She really take a shot for every time we say to get ahead of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the frustration I had on the page was everything felt so sexual in a way that almost where I actually thought Megan Fox obviously brings that, but she also kind of threw a lot of the lines away in a way that made it so much better.
She grounded it. Jennifer.
She really,
she played it
really
back-footed
did.
and like as if she was a little bit more blasé, and on the page she's much more forward with it.
God,
which I loved. And like
same.
Because watching it in this context, I was like, okay, Megan Fox, because I always liked her in this movie, but I was like, okay, girl, I see what you really did here.
I totally agree. Jennifer's Body was considered a commercial failure. Diablo struggled with that a lot. She said people really attacked her for it. People in the industry came for her. She said Twitter was pretty new at the time, and she said that people were absolutely ruthless to her. And a lot of them were peers, like writers and directors, that she was like kind of shocked that that they were like her feeling was like, do you think I'm not gonna see this type thing?
And she won an Oscar for Juno, right?
Yeah,
for best screenplay.
And she actually sought therapy because of it, because of how much of a toll it put on her, which is so shitty.
From the fallout from Jennifer's Body.
Yeah, just because I think her point was like she got it from all levels. Like it was just like, even though coming from the highest of highs
to then having full creative freedom over your next project, and then just like straight into the dumpster.
Yeah,
like,
and having peers be so shitty about it.
Yeah,
not like
the whiplash of that would be traumatizing.
And lastly, Diablo Cody said, if someone ever stops her out in the world, they only ever want to talk about Jennifer's Body.
Of course. I mean, yes. And out of all of her films, I mean, it to me is the one that always sticks out. Obviously, Juno is a thing of its own. It was such a juggernaut in so many ways.
Yeah.
But like Jennifer's Body, because like, have you seen Lisa Frankenstein?
I haven't.
I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
But
I watched the trailer for it.
It's fun. It's exactly what
she said. It lives in the same world.
Oh, like in the same universe? Mm-hmm. I could see that. It's very fun. It's like Jennifer's Body is like the best encapsulation of like Diablo Cody's like energy to me, in my opinion.
Okay.
As a man talking about a woman writing. But anyway, continue.
And well, I guess the last thing they just said was that it really found its audience many years later, and that they really kind of blamed the marketing team. And one little anecdote they gave, which again, the complexity I feel even around this, I don't like it at all. And yet again, I hate to say in 2009, I'm like, I don't know how, I'm not saying this in defense. I'm saying it in a way that I'm grossed out by. But her point was like the marketing kept wanting to push Megan Fox and the sex appeal.
Yeah.
And at one point, like when she was emailing with them, she was like in your guys' mind, like what is the highlight? And they literally said like Megan Fox hot. Like they didn't even say is hot. They just said like, Christ. So it's like so gross. And yet at the same time, the complexity there is it is a sexualized film.
Yeah.
So it's not plucked from nothing. And yet at the same time, the fact that they were trying to market it so much to the little teenage boy, whatever, was a mistake. And yet at the same time, in 2009, I can't say I'm so grossly disappointed. But I'm like you said, it was like ahead of its time. I feel like now a movie like this I feel like would really thrive.
I think so. I think
but who knows,
so.
I guess.
I think back then they just weren't ready for the subversion of America's hot new sex symbol being shown. Like, of course they're going to like hypersexualize it and like man eater and like go with like that whole thing of it. But like seeing the sexual politics kind of flipped on its head and showing how you traumatize someone, you hurt someone that can, lead to them getting their revenge on you. And that's not like really thrown in your face with it. No. It's obviously there, but there are shades of theming that are much more modern than people were ready for.
Well, I also think, like you said, though, like it feels like it should have been marketed more towards the queer community and women in many ways. But in 2009, they were not going to do that, which is disgusting because that's its audience for the most part. But it's like, it's so sad to be like, you can just hear the marketing conversations being like, well, we're not going to make money doing that. And you're like, no, you actually would have.
Yeah. It was either in that interview or in a different thing that I read where Diablo was saying that in her mind from inception, this was a movie for women predominantly. And then like you said, because Megan Fox and her success on Transformers and stuff and being this hot new sex symbol, they marketed it squarely towards men.
Like to the point where in her in the poster she's wearing this like schoolgirl outfit that she doesn't wear anything like.
Exactly.
It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
And like there are school sequences, but like the
She's not wearing
school
that.
aspect of it is also pretty minimal in
Well, and
the story.
apparently the trailer was mainly like the sexual moments in the movie, which
her
again,
unzipping with that
now,
guy in the
to
woods.
be fair, the script has a ton of that.
The
but
script
the
would have
movie
been
has
like
quite a bit
straight
less.
up R.
Yeah.
Is this movie? Wait, is the movie R or is
That's
it
actually a
PG?
very good
13.
question. I'm gonna
because
look.
the script has like overt nudity and like is like even more sexual. Like you have Needy calling Jennifer a cum dumpster at one point. Like this.
You're right.
The script
There's
goes
a
there
lot of lines
way
where I was
harder.
like, damn. Well, that's the crazy part, though, is on one hand, some of the dialogue would not fly with some people right now, I feel like.
It wouldn't, but that's also part of like, to me, that dialogue is also, even though that didn't make it to the movie, whether they shot it or not, whatever, didn't make it, but it is on the page. To me, it kind of plays into the other theme of like the complexity of teenage girls and their relationships with each other, and how one day you're besties and then the next day you're rivals. Then after that, you're bitter enemies, and then you're besties again. Then the cycle repeats itself, kind of thing, you know? Like
100%.
And how like you can have such a deep love for someone, but then like something goes wrong and you're talking mad shit about them, calling them a cum dumpster.
It's R-rated.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. There's a lot of blood and like kids killing kids in it, so or one kid killing multiple kids.
What is your script? Daddy's score.
Okay, so my script score is 7.6 out of 10.
Okay.
And here's what I wrote after reading. I said, overall, this is an entertaining, fun, and iconically cheeky screenplay. I enjoy that the story kind of marches to the beat of its own drum without needing to explain certain mechanics or backstories too deeply. However, I will also say that aside from the style and colorful dialogue, the power of the storytelling itself fell a little flat for me this time around. The plot meanders a bit, and while that can work for a more character-based story such as this, it left me feeling like there was more to be desired at times, and the urgency could have been more heightened on the page. The stars of the show for me are Diablo's iconic, off-kilter dialogue and her random specificity in the action. More details on that in my Daddy Do's. Overall, I love that this story leans into its B-movie horror elements, which is why my score lands a bit higher than what my initial assessment would imply. It's undeniably fun, and given the subject matter, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief happily in order to go along for the ride. So you can see even in there, it's like, I have such contradictory feelings where like, there's actually nothing I would change for the movie because I love the movie as it is. But even when I watched it back then, there were certain elements that I was like, for instance, her wearing that gaudy 80s prom dress is nothing more than a gag. And like, I thought one of the reasons upon of a myriad that I first read the script years ago was because I was like, I need to know, like, is that her mom's prom dress that she got out of storage or something? What is the backstory? What's the reasoning for her wearing an 80s prom dress in 2009? No kid would do that.
Yeah.
But like, they never even go into it. And it's just like, you know,
but
it's just
in
a
the
quirk.
script, didn't they say it was the mom's or no?
I don't think they did. The main thing was Chip says to her, you're a winter, so you need to wear magenta or something in that tone. Right. And so she goes to find him. We never see where she got the dress, but we're led to assume that she got it at some like thrift store or something. It's just the only magenta script that she could find.
Weird,
but that was one of the things that irked me because I was like, what's the purpose of that? Like, because it's not really that funny. It doesn't land that well. And then like the big 80s hairdo, that you do get an explanation for in the script where the mom says like, if you can't have like one thing, you got to have like hooker hair or something. I forgot what it was. Anyway, what was yours?
Mine was 7.8.
Oh my God. There we go.
But that was me leaning up.
Mm-hmm.
But I never write, like I'll write, I mean, I write things and then I go off of, but I'm actually going to read what I wrote this time because again, like I have such contradicting feelings that I was like, I'm just going to write it down. I wrote, what Diablo Cody does extremely well in this script is create her own universe. From minute go, we are immersed in a new world and it's off to the races, which I did really enjoy about it. It's her trademark world building and she executes it well. The style is not my particular favorite, but it is well written and it's an incredibly unique story that's rooted in stories we have seen 1,000 times. High school drama, best friends, boy issues, but done through the most unique and bizarre lens you could fathom. What I loved about it was also what took me out of it at times, which was the dialogue. Sometimes it felt fresh, brave, and other times it felt strangely flat, overly crass, or just way too long-winded. The constant sexualization of everything lived in kind of a strange space, at times in a more feminine, modern lens, and then other times it did feel slightly exploited. I can't say that word today. Exploitative in ways we're in the same way we're accustomed to with films like Not Another Teen Movie or something like that. Like that messed with me a little bit because by the way, I am so pro sex scenes. Like I really am. I'm writing a film right now that has many. Like I am not a prude to that. I have no issue with it. But something about how often it was being pulled in the script felt confusing because I was like, it almost did feel like it was taking away certain aspects but then I was like, but then maybe it's not because this is the vision she had for it.
I think it's probably because the themes and messaging aren't so honed to be like in your face enough where it's like, because I could argue that like the sexuality is there because this girl who's like the hottest girl in school who is seen as a sex object, it's then being subverted and her sexuality is being used to lure men to their death.
Yes.
Instead of lure them for their own pleasure or like living up to this male fantasy. Anyway.
But even like their relationship, the two girls, how in the script we're always alluding to, does Needy have feelings for her? Is it whatever? But then we also are very clear that Needy is like in love with Chip, like very much so. And then in the movie, like there's so many interesting things where I was like, oh, like I think the movie found the balance that the script did not, because the movie benefited from when they did choose it. It felt like on point. It felt necessary most of the time. Whereas in the script, sometimes it just felt like, like, what? Like
totally.
Even down to like, in the script, when Jennifer dies, it even refers to the way her mom is holding her is almost like
like that she's a sexy corpse essentially.
In a way where I was like, that was kind of like things like that where I was like, why are we specifying that she's like other than I guess?
Yeah, that is odd.
And again, there's nothing innately wrong with that. It was more just like I kept going like, what is the point of it being this constant all the time?
Yeah, because it needs to have a purpose.
Yes,
that because even right now, we're not really able to fully mine out what that moment is. Like, why are we having to indicate so heavily, like so specifically that she is this sexy corpse? And even in death, she's this sexy, gorgeous, like she even dies with a smirk on her face. She's that cheeky. So it's like, I mean, I get that.
And again,
the meaning of it's a bit muddled.
Yeah, and it's like not the end of the world. And I do think the movie found a way to make sex and things like that actually, because to me the best part of a sex scene is that it tells you something about about the two people that you would have a harder time showing otherwise. And I do think that the movie found a way to do that, whereas the script didn't feel like it was as clear in that. It was just more and more opportunities to cut to this whatever.
Totally, yeah.
But it was another one of those things where I was like, I'm not mad, I'm confused a little, and also ultimately confused in a way that I didn't find like in a way that was super interesting to me. It was kind of more just like, oh, I don't know why that is. And it
wasn't intrigue, it was confusion.
Yes, perfectly put.
And what you said about the dialogue, how at some points it's like, oh my God, pops off the page, is so great, energetic and fun. Then at other times is like droll and flat and very much on the nose in a way. But most of that was like figured out for the movie. I think, but I had the exact same experience with the dialogue too, where because like the one thing I remembered so strongly from reading the script the first time was like how much I love Diablo Cody's dialogue.
Well, because she knows how to she knows how to throw you into a world. And that is a really gorgeous quality to have, to be able to be like, whether you like the world or not, here's the world, and it's consistent, and it's all of those things. So that's why I kept going like, the whole time I was impressed how we were in a new world and it was consistent. There's not holes in that. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no hole.
Yeah, no, the world building is really solidly done, especially with the magic. I think I have it. I mean, I know I definitely do have it in my notes about how the reasoning for her for the ritual going wrong is so clean and crisp and easy to understand.
It's perfect.
It's so good. And like it's just like that's something that I would read. Like I could read like a little paragraph of a blurb about this and be like, a virgin sacrifice going wrong because she's not a virgin and then she becomes a demon because of that. Are you kidding me?
No, it's so good.
I love
and that she didn't have to overcomplicate it, that she let it be simple, and that even that she let it be that simple, and she alludes very easily that this band doesn't even hardly know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Too, which I love too.
And I love that they hit that in their dialogue in the movie even more, where he's like, bands gotta do anything. It's hard to make it as an indie band these days. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, we gotta do something to set ourselves apart. And it's murdering a teenage girl. Yeah. Like, do you want to keep working at the Moose Shack or whatever? Or do you want to be like the guy from Maroon 5?
Also, Adam Brody, completely forgot he was in this. And I was like, he was so
cute,
good.
Dude.
I couldn't believe that I forgot he was in it, but also he's fantastic.
He is so good as Nikolai.
It's such a strange role for him, but he's so good.
He's so good.
It's very well cast.
It really is.
Okay, movie score, because we're already chomping. What is your movie score, Dad?
My movie score is 8.8 out of 10, which is lower than I thought it was going to be. Going into this, I was like, it's going to be a 10 out of 10. I just know it.
Okay, we need to stop sharing a brain because I was like, oh, it's going to be another 10. And then I was shooketh when it wasn't.
But then watching it with a critical eye changes everything. Watching it as for pure entertainment, a movie that I love, which I will continue to do.
Totally. That's how I felt about Devil Wears Prada.
It's just different. Yeah, exactly. Because when you're watching it in that context, you're not trying to find like what makes it a good story and what hinders that story from being as good as it could be. Whatever. Anyway, my score is 8.8 out of 10, and this is what I wrote after watching the movie. I said, I've always loved the movie, and this watch was no different. The movie outdoes the screenplay by streamlining the narrative and dialogue and centering the story even more squarely around Needy and Jennifer. The horror elements were also much more honed for the movie. I particularly loved the sequence when Jennifer shows up at Needy's house after the bar burns down, and the scene when Colin meets Jennifer at the unfinished home. Watching Megan Fox scoop handfuls of blood out of a mangled corpse is peak horror imagery for me.
It really is.
It is so good, dude. That shot is so fucking good. The cinematography is also very captivating and beautiful. I love the use of close-ups in this film. I've seen this movie so many times, but this time around, I was impressed to see the layered nuance of the messaging and themes. From the complexities of teenage female friendships and their often sapphic undertones to exploring trauma, exploitation for gain, and other toxic byproducts of being a woman in a male-centered world, Jennifer's Body definitely has more to say than I ever gave it credit for.
Ooh.
And that's on gold.
And that is on God. My movie score is 8.7.
Oh my God. Well,
we were like stupid this time. We were like real close.
Yeah.
But yeah, weird because I was like definitely going to be a 10. And then it was like same, which I also think is worth like exploring a little bit too, where you're like, again, we're never trying to make a movie less good for someone. It's more just like, when you are a writer and you are trying to uplevel your writing, it's like, this is what these conversations are about, where it's going like, obviously, we're not saying these movies should be changed. It's just interesting to go when you do put like a real zoom in around these things, like what you notice and what you don't, and like how to make certain shifts for your own sake to just think about things you maybe wouldn't normally. Like, you know what I mean? Something
just came through a thought right now that I haven't had up until now is that, and I'm kind of, let me know if this makes sense or is relevant to this, but I'm thinking one of the issues here is that while so often we see movies where it's a really great plot, but then characters that don't live up to the plot, this is the inverse of that, where it's really great characters, but it needs a little bit more work on the plot to keep us, because like the characters so often inform the plot. They kind of have to do that because your characters are reacting to what's going on in the world around them and then pushing the plot forward in that way. But sometimes you need like the broad strokes and like the sequencing of your story to be a little bit more outlined in order to have a more fun playground for those characters to interact with in. And I think this is a movie where while you couldn't get too plot heavy, I mean, you could. My version of this movie would be much more plot heavy. But like, I just feel like I would have liked to see the journey be a little bit more intentional and thought out. Whereas right now it feels a little bit like things are just mostly happening to them. But I'm also like, I need to parse that through a little bit more for myself because that's just like a thought that randomly came through. And
that's
I'm just
interesting.
Rattling off right now. But yeah, take that for what you will, because I'm not even sure how I feel about that right now.
That's interesting.
But that's one thing that I thought was like, yeah, I just would like to see the characters doing a little bit more.
That's fair. What I wrote down for the movie was what I couldn't nail down in the script felt so much clearer in the film. The tone was very different than what I was imagining. That was what was really freaking weird for me, and we'll talk about that in a second. They found a really beautiful balance of still letting the dialogue be in its own world, but grounding it a little bit, as well as having extremely grounded performances that made you actually think, oh, how would I act if this bizarre, crazy thing happened? Whereas the script lived in such a different universe to me, I had trouble connecting to it throughout. The performances, though, the way it was shot, the color correction, the soundtrack, all really were like the gorgeous cocktail that came together. I mean, while I was watching it multiple times, I was like, God damn, the lighting, the music.
Love the way it's shot.
It really brought this gorgeous quirk to it that made it kind of hard to throw in one genre. And I loved that about it. Like I loved, because again, those things were not clear to me in the script. Like I said, the weird part about reading this, it almost felt like reading a script without having seen the movie, other than I had this weird shadow of knowing I liked the movie.
Yeah.
But the tone in the script felt very different to me than the movie. The movie was so much creepier than I felt like the script was.
Agreed.
It to the point where, like you said, we pretty much watch the movies now and then like pull the script. Like I'm always kind of going back and forth just to see. And there were moments that were creepy in the movie that I went back to in the script, and I'm like, well, I guess like technically the words are there, but they didn't feel creepy. It like just because I felt like the main thing that was in my mind was like everything was so heightened, and we were always in this kind of like, we speak in a way that people don't really speak. All of us do though. And but again, to her credit, Needy speaks differently than, like they have some.
Like the JV and the varsity of it all.
Like they have the best friends have some like some shared terms, but then Needy would say things that Jennifer absolutely wouldn't, and likewise. Yeah. And then Chip they fine-tuned Chip for the movie quite a bit. And I think Johnny grounded the fuck out of Chip. And I was so glad, because Chip was a little too much like them. Yeah. And his verbiage was a little bit too much like them in a way, whereas like I feel like the movie found the compromise where he still had some kind of weird or like nerdy or like then not. He was kind of all over the place, but in the movie it all worked. Whereas in the script I was like, Chip just feels kind of like another one of them in a way that didn't totally land or whatever. But yeah, I was mostly shook that the tone felt so different to me.
It does.
But did you feel that way too?
Yeah, it's a bit like the whole experience on script and screen are heightened, but it feels even more heightened on the page.
Yes.
And I think that's why
almost
sometimes
like satire.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's not a satire movie.
It has shades of satire, but I wouldn't say it's a satirical movie. No. But no, I totally agree. The dialogue really was streamlined a lot. But like the one thing that I thought of when you were saying the creep was better in the movie was the one example that really jumps out at me is the scene where Jennifer shows up to Needy's house after everything burns down. She vomits up the black blood and everything. On the page, that's not as creepy as it is in the movie, because in the movie, it's almost we're playing with our expectations with the shots. Like Needy comes downstairs, she sees like a hallway closet. Yep. She opens that hallway closet because she hears something. She's like, hello, anyone there? And in classic horror movie style, we've seen so many movies where someone opens a door and then they close the door and there's someone there. It's a jump scare. Yep. And they play with your expectations that way in this movie, where she closes the door, there is no one there. Yep. And then like also with like when Needy first opens the door in that scene, the front door, she's looking outside, like looking to see if anyone's there. And there's a very like over her shoulder, we can see all the way down the hall to the kitchen. Yep. And then they play with shadow play there. Yep. And we see the shadow moving by. We know Jennifer's in there, whatever. We know something really bad happened. But the creep factor is ramped way up. And I don't think any of those moments of like seeing over her shoulder or like the door and expecting someone to be behind it, but it's not there, that's not really on the page. And I think you, for a horror script, I would say you can write those moments in. I wouldn't consider that directing on the page. I would consider that playing to the atmosphere of it. What would you say for that?
Well, you know what's interesting though is like obviously Sixth Sense is night and day different, but it's still like it has creepy, scary moments in it. And you did feel that on the page.
You sure did.
No, but
girl.
again, I understand before anyone gets crazy. I know there couldn't be more different.
Of course.
But my point is,
we're talking about techniques of writing.
And I did feel creeped out reading that script at
Agreed.
times. Whereas I felt like because the world was so heightened in humor, like because almost every line of dialogue had a punchline.
Yeah.
That it made it harder to consider that in the action we were meant to be scared, because when we were talking, it was almost always setting up something quippy or kind of outrageous or whatever. That I think that was part of it. But also too, it's shot so well. The lighting choices are so much of why you're so creeped out. But again, I have to give it back to the performances too. Amanda Seyfried, oh my God.
Girl.
She played it in a way that made me go like, the actor in me was like, I didn't even consider when reading this script that it could be played the way she played it.
Yes.
In a way that made me go, she had to play this role because she played it so earnestly, which felt impossible.
She carries that movie.
But it felt impossible on the page that someone could play it earnestly because some of the dialogue just felt like at one point she
For
says
all
like,
of them, honestly, that applies to all of them. Every single member of the cast grounded the material because it is so heightened on the page. And
specifically Needy, Jennifer, and Chip. The three of them,
yes,
I was the most like, damn, their take on this is why I loved this movie so much, because they all grounded it in a way that made me connect to the story. Like, this is a huge flash forward and whatever, sue me. But when Chip dies, it's actually a moment that it's like there's a sincerity there that I did not feel in the script.
That also, this time watching it is the first time I've seen that scene and actually felt a little bit of emotion. Because all the other times I'm watching this, I was like, oh, it's so fun, horror romp, whatever. But I don't really emotionally connect with the characters as much.
Yeah.
This time around, like, the emotional parts really hit me. And like, when and also like, this has hit me before, but it really hit me this time when Needy kills Jennifer, and like the impact of like, this girl just had to murder her best friend. And then you see Jennifer's scary, demon face go away, and she becomes this beautiful, like, teenage girl again, this innocent girl. And the mom comes in and she says, Jennifer, what is it, baby? I think having the mom call her baby in that moment, like, really cut through. I was like, oh, fucking this is someone's child.
Yeah.
That's just all murder. Yeah. But the Chip scene in particular, I was like, a little emotion.
So was I, and I was surprised by it. But again, I went back to this scene and I'm like, in the script, right up before his last breath, they're making jokes. He's still being cute with her. He's
much dialogue.
Some of the dialogue was the same, but I like wrote down one because I was like, this is another thing I want to talk to you about. There's a project that I'm working on right now that we did a table read for like a couple months ago, and then we workshopped some of the scenes that I'm in the other night, which, by the way, like, if you can do that, you should always do that. But we were going through some of my lines of dialogue with the writer-director, and we hit a line of dialogue that when we read during the table read, and when I read it by myself, I was like, oh, like, yeah, this is like fun and quippy, right? But then every time I said it out loud, I was like, it just felt kind of flat. And then we had this conversation because he was totally on board. Someone else had written, he was like, I agree, it should go. But it was like, we both agreed, but it's funny on the page. And it opened up this door in my brain where I was like, once again, why I always say to people though, like, read your fucking dialogue out loud, because it was like a cute line of dialogue on the page, but every time I said it out loud, I was like, this just does nothing. It's like benign.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not like the worst written line of dialogue. It just like didn't work outside of being read. Mm-hmm. And I had that thought because there's so many lines in this script that are on the page fun to read, but that I didn't miss at all when they were taken out of the movie.
I agree. That's part of that sentiment is in one of my daddy do's. And I noticed that too. And it made me think
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, because I was going to put in as like a little appendix to my daddy do. Actually ended up taking it out because I was like, that could be construed the wrong way. Anyway, but I was going to have a little appendix about dialogue saying like that play around with dialogue, but also know that some things are just only going to work on the page. And they're not going to translate. Because when an actor brings it to life, something that is hilarious on the page will just fall flat. I literally noticed that exact same thing, but then I took that out because I don't want people to feel like they can't play on the page. Because one of the things that we've noticed with scripts so much is that the things that work for a script and the things that work for a movie are so different, but we wouldn't want to change them for the script because it makes the reading experience so much better.
Yes.
And it's just they're like, you're just never going to know what's really, really going to hit.
And I think if you read this script, though, this script is an extreme form of that but also gorgeous for what we're doing, where like from script to screen, they really found the best balance.
They did.
And so if you have a little extra time on your hands, go through and look at the dialogue they kept and didn't, because the dialogue they kept work.
It works a lot better because there's like, especially in that, just to go back to that scene with Chip and Needy at the end when Chip is dying, there's a whole like paragraph that Chip says about like when you're dying, you see like the truth better.
So same moment where I literally wrote, this is one of those funny on the page things, but it's way too drawn out for the actual moment being juxtaposed with Needy being absolutely devastated, but they still were keeping humor at the forefront, which took you out of it.
Yeah.
So he goes, you look hot in that dress. And she goes, you're clearly delirious, which is in the film.
Yep.
And then he goes, no, when you're dying, you can see everything a lot clearer. You can see what's true and what's not. The things that are true have this glowing halo of light around them, like a picture of the baby Jesus, or Barbara Walters when they use this special lens. And I know for sure that you're totally hot. That's cute and quippy on the page, but would have completely taken you out.
Would have ruined the moment.
Of the moment that I think part of what makes this movie special is that it does allow you to have a moment where like Needy is absolutely devastated that this guy that she loves is now dead because of her best friend.
When she just tried to protect him by saying, I'm breaking up with you, we can't go to the dance together, stay home.
And in his final moment, he's still, like when he says, I'm going somewhere else, I was, that hit me, dude.
Me too.
But again, because they stripped the humor out and they still let him say, you look hot in that dress. And she was like, oh my God. Like
that heightens the impact of her saying, I love you.
Yes. Yes.
It makes it like a real thing. Like what's the last thing I'm going to say to this person before they leave this realm? I love you.
Okay, I'm adding, I've just found a daddy do in the wild. It's one of my favorite ways to find daddy do's now. Do not be afraid to add heart to your script, no matter the genre, because the script doesn't have a lot of heart, but the movie benefited so greatly from the moments, again, not making a meal of, but they found moments to get you. For instance, Jennifer has a lot of moments in the movie that do not live on the page where you feel for her, where you have a moment where you're like, fuck,
you really do
through it.
And in the script, it's more of like you're seeing her become this monster and she's very sadistic and like she's just like reveling and having so much fun and becoming this like awful thing, which is there as well. But then you see like the struggles, like there's a moment before prom where you see this shot of Jennifer looking in the mirror. She looks all haggard. She hasn't eaten, so she's really weak. And then to the side of the mirror, there's a picture of Jennifer before she was a demon. And you see this beautiful, glowing girl. And then you see her in the mirror and she's applying foundation to her face and rubbing it up. But then there's tears in her eyes in that moment. And for the first time watching this movie, I've ever clocked that there's tears in her eyes in that moment. And that made me that made my mind and imagination go wild. Like, oh my God, is she regretful? Because there's so many times where like she'll kill these people and it seems like she's having fun, but you never see a shade of, I hate that I have to do this now.
Truly.
Like a shade of remorse. And in that moment, it's not over the top. You can't they don't even tell you that's how you should feel. But I felt like that's what it was telescoping. It was a little bit of remorse.
And even like the other thing that I also had a moment where I was like, whoa, is like what happens to Jennifer is absolutely fucking horrendous, evil, and terrifying.
And they made it so much more terrifying in the movie too.
But in a way that I was grateful for, because I felt like in the script, I was like, I kind of feel like we're like skipping over something absolutely. Now,
atrocious.
Granted, in horror films, we're always faced with atrocious things, but still, it felt like this was very specifically horrendous. And in the script, she's so quick to like brag about how she was like, can you believe that I like, even when that was happening, I still was able to die. Yeah. Whereas they changed some of the dialogue when she's telling Needy about what happened to her. But again, I'll give it to Megan. Her performance also, she played it a lot more vulnerable in the telling and in when they're doing the flashbacks. that you don't get in the script.
Agreed.
Because in the script, I did almost go like, oh, so she's just like went straight to demon, has no feelings about what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movie, they do have those shades of she's still in there, but she's also still, if this was going to happen to anyone, it's going to happen to Jennifer. And Jennifer is going to weirdly have a sense of humor about it and be like, I'm a demon now, bitch. Like, and so that worked in its favor that we weren't overindulgent in her emotions. If it happened to Needy, it would be a totally different movie.
Oh, for sure.
Needy would have died. She would have let herself die because she wouldn't have eaten anyone.
Yeah.
Whereas it was so much more fun to pick Jennifer.
Yeah.
And see this woman who already doesn't really give two fucking shits about whatever be the one that becomes a demon.
Also, you know what's an interesting thing to think about? Sorry, finish your thought.
No, I was just saying that like I was just grateful that they added layers.
Yeah. So when you just said that if Needy was the one that became a demon, it would have been a different movie and that she would have died. I think, while that's a distinct possibility, that if Needy became a demon, she probably wouldn't have been able to control herself the way that Jennifer did. Jennifer controls herself and said, I couldn't bring myself to kill you. Because she goes to Needy first after all that happens. She's a demon. And she is, it is just about, she's about to eat her when she pushes her up against that wall. And she's like, are you scared? But Jennifer is so calculated and controlling in her environment. And we even see a shade of that when she's picking up Needy for the concert. And they're like play wrestling, and Jennifer gets the last shove and really shoves her and pushes her up against a wall. And we kind of see that Needy, kind of takes a subservient role here. So that to me could also show that Needy being not as in control of her emotions but then again, Needy actually is in control of her emotions because she's able to handle these crazy things and make actionable decisions that, solve it.
Yeah.
It has to be a murder. But so actually, I don't know how much I believe in that. But that's also a shade that could be interesting to see in a story like that. Where it's like a mild, meek person you would think would be more in control of it.
Yeah.
But actually, since they don't have control of their environment already and they make themselves more subservient, then they're just like become this like insatiable monster. A moment for some of Jennifer's iconic dialogue. Because there are lines in this movie that I still say to this day. The chief among them being, you're Jello, you're lime green Jello, and you came in a minute to yourself.
Also, her delivery of it is
it's perfection.
Because on the page, I kind of, to be honest, here's another one. On the page, I glossed over.
Yes.
Her delivery in the movie, I was like,
it is
get it,
perfect.
girl.
It's another one that on the page falls flat, but in the movie is one of my favorite moments when they're at the bar and she goes, Needy, you got to realize these are morsels. We have the control here. So like these things, she grabs her boob, shows these are like smart bombs. You point them in the right direction and shit gets real.
Yeah.
On the page, it doesn't land as funny. Or like the moment where I think it's hilarious the way that Megan Fox gave this line where she talks about the 9/11 tribute shooter. And she's like, or you got to drink it really fast or it goes kind of brownish. Like she throws the brownish away, but it heightens the comedy of it in a way that's just so
You're
good.
right. She really did play it back-footed. That's like the perfect.
She did.
Most of it, she did that. Then there were other times where she turned it, the hypersexual, like turned it up. But mostly she was back-footed and it really benefited the whole thing. Because throwing away those lines are almost the only way that they work. Truly. For the tone that they were going for.
Totally. Exactly. Because so much of the dialogue is so heightened in that Diablo Cody way that if you leaned into all of it, it would just become about that. And it would take away the scary impact. Like the script does that. The script leans way more into that and it does diminish the impact of the creep. I loved first of all, right at the beginning of the movie, the script starts very differently. Than the movie, and like by page like 10 or so, you're seeing Needy murder Jennifer.
Yeah,
like they kind of give you the horrible thing that happens at the beginning, but like that's another brilliant change for the movie because it would have been not as intriguing to know that like. Because you see what Needy went through, and you know that like she's in this insane asylum. You know she killed someone. You don't know what or whatever. But like if you had jumped from that to seeing her killing Jennifer, you wouldn't have gotten that beautiful heart moment of like how it is in the movie.
Yeah.
And reworking it there, it just works so much better.
It really was one of those that as soon as the movie started, I actually was like, oh, I'm so glad that we don't show the end.
Yes.
Because some movies benefit from that, although I argue very few. I truly think
yes,
very few, although there are some, but
it has to be left kind of open-ended for it to really work, because then you're like, you got to know, there's a missing puzzle piece there that you're going to learn throughout the journey of the movie.
And this story just feels like there's nothing that it benefited knowing that Needy kills Jennifer at the beginning.
I could kind of see the like logic of a writer doing that, thinking that it's going to heighten all the experiences after that, because you know what Needy ultimately does to Jennifer, so it's going to like seem ultimately more tragic.
But the
seeing their
suspense
friendship
of like, is she actually going to do it to me? Was so much juicier.
Completely agree.
Because you constantly see, as thrown off as she is by by Jennifer, Needy is always weighing out how much she cares about her, like, but also like the burden of her, but also like they do show all these shades of their relationship in a way that's very interesting, where like she's ultimately frustrated by her quite a bit, but there is that thing there where
we've all had that friend that we love, but they control us, and we secretly hate them at moments, and those friendships do usually end not poorly. Well.
Yeah, like fiercely codependent ones that you go like, oh, this isn't gonna end well. Here's two small examples of her action that I actually thought were simple, but like I liked it. Page 5, it says, Devil's Kettle is a quiet farming community surrounded by dense woods and mirrored lakes. Love that. Yeah. It's the kind of town that has one high school, one pizza joint, and one stoplight. I loved that. It's like a very small thing, but you get so much out of it.
I like that a lot too.
Another one I liked, this was a fast forward, but page 26, suddenly a hand clamps onto Jennifer's shoulders. Both girls jump. It's Nikolai, his forehead creased with false concern.
Yes.
I loved the wording of that, because again,
false concern.
How many times have you sat at the page and you're like, fuck, how do I show that like he's pretending to be concerned? And I don't want to use the word pretend.
Yeah. But false concern. It's so clean.
Oh my God. So clean.
Yeah.
His like,
she has a bunch of moments like that where it's like very
that's what I mean.
clean.
She is such a gifted writer. Where I was just like, that is so perfect. It's like, it would be easy to go like, how simple, but it's really not. It's actually very, very well thought out, because think about Nikolai. You're like, that's exactly who he is in one sentence.
Or when he's outside, when they're outside and the bar's burning, and the way she describes the smile he has on his face. I forgot what she said. It's like a vicious like grin or something like that. But
so good.
I love, so another thing that's a really fun like little writer trick is like foreshadowing things. Mm-hmm. And she does it really subtly. This is something that you see in a bunch of different movies, so it's not like I'm saying that this is unique to the script, but I really like the way that she did it. And there's two different examples I have. So on page 3, we get little glimpses of why Needy is in the asylum in the action. So it says, Needy voiceover. She says, personally, I think they're trying to wear us out, keep us sluggish so that there won't be an uprising. Well, those JV tactics won't work on me. I'm a kicker. Kicker. It even says it on my chart. Then it says, we briefly cut to Needy's chart on some doctor's clipboard. We see her name, Anita Needy Lesnicki, and a few brief details about the first-degree murder. Beneath that, we see a triple highlighted warning in bright ink, kicker. But I love that, like the little thing of like first-degree murder. Okay, shit, what's that? And then like the grandiose notions, like she has these delusions. And that's why like cutting right from that moment in the asylum to then seeing what she did, it takes the wind out of that thing of like first degree murder, who'd she kill? And then on page 4, there's another moment that Yes, another moment of subtle foreshadowing when Needy, so she kicks the orderly or whatever, the nutritionist. I love that. And then she's sent to solitary confinement, and it says, suddenly, soft music is piped into the hole, ostensibly to calm the patients in solitary. Needy shudders and recoils at the sound of it. It's a cheesy rock ballad that we'll soon hear again. Love that. Because I just like, because the song is such a runner in it. And it's like so funny. Like just that fucking eye roll, overly.
Here we go. Yeah.
Like, sympathetic song.
It's a way bigger runner though in the script than in the movie, right? I feel like you don't hear the song as many times in the movie as you do in the script. I feel like in the script it's like in 5 times.
Yeah, you see a bunch of memorials where people are singing it and stuff. Like it is a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more. Sure. But yeah, no, there's well, and also the cross out Needy. That because but Needy doesn't cross her out when she kills her in the film.
She does.
She does?
She crosses it. She slaps the next on her stomach. She goes, cross out Jennifer.
Right. That's right. That was a runner I liked that I was like, oh, that's because it's so thrown away in the movie where she first is like, cross out Needy.
Cross out Needy.
Like, so that I thought was a really smart, kind of fun little.
So here's a moment where her specificity of random details, that's like such a Diablo Cody thing. I said part of the charm of Diablo's voice is that she gets very specific about random details. Like when Needy sneaks in to kill Jennifer, the action reads, this is on page 7. It says, Needy plunges through the window, screaming and brandishing a hammer. She takes a swing at Jennifer's head, but misses and buries it into the wall, specifically in Jennifer's Fall Out Boy poster. Like,
yeah,
I kind of love that because it's like another boy band. Yeah. It's like, but also it's like, it's just a moment that you don't have to indicate that. It just adds a little bit more personality on the page, which I love.
I definitely do shit like that. And
it's so fun.
But whenever I'm like refining, I'm always like, are you the one to go? But sometimes I'm like, no, I like... When little details stick out in my head like that, I like calling shit like that out, but I know that's not for everybody.
Well, it also brings the reader more squarely into when you're engaging. So, because like so often action can be like when you're describing something like that, like it's like she comes in. I mean, it is pretty specific. She brandishes a hammer. She swings at her head. But like when you say like she hits the wall, but specifically a poster, it almost brings you even more into the scene because it engages your little details that you wouldn't imagine. You're just imagining a general room. But then all of a sudden there's posters on the room. It's Fall Out Boy. So you get an indication of Jennifer's personality, what she likes. It works on so many different levels.
I feel like that's the gorgeousness of treating action with craft, where you go like, there's a version where you're just like, I'm going to just be like broad strokes, or I'm going to be really, really literal. But it's like the craft of it is merging the two of going like, okay, what is the simplest terms I can lay out the visual to you that is in my head? But then where can I add the specifics or the little bit of flavor that makes you tap in a little bit more than you would have if this hadn't been there?
Yes, God.
And to go back to the sex scene thing, that's something that, again, confused me about this movie because, like, in this film I'm writing right now, like, I have been so specific in, like, certain things that happen in intimacy between people because, granted, my film couldn't be more different than this. It's like a drama, it's whatever. But, like, it's all about relationships, fine. But like those things matter. Do you know what I mean? Like those things when we're choosing those things is my point. Like
especially for a story, everything means something, and it has to be
because
pushing
what
it forward.
you're choosing. Because again, it's one thing if the sex scene, if we're just meant to learn these two people hook up, fine. But when it's like a movie like what I'm writing, where it's so character dependent, and we so need to know the difference in these relationships. We need to see what I choose to share is so relevant because it's like. Yeah. Is with one person it's way quicker, with someone else it's slower. You know, those are things that inform. And again, I felt like with this, that's me projecting my own shit onto this, but it felt like in the script, it just lived in this space of will they, won't they, which is something that's its own thing. But then the movie kind of just went for it with them making out.
Yeah, that's Script Babies, that iconic makeout scene is not in the script. I love that. I actually specifically wrote that down to ask you, like, why do you think they added that? And it's like, I think it's to show that Jennifer, okay. So at first I was like, Jennifer is just using her wiles against Needy. That's how I've always kind of taken it. Very surface level take of it. But then when you're watching it, she's not kissing Needy the way that you would kiss someone if you're just solely trying to bring a fly to the honey, you know? Like there's passion there. They're like really making out, and like she like brings more. I mean, maybe you would if you're more skilled that way, but like, do you know what I mean? Like
I do know what you mean.
It felt very purposeful, and it felt like it was supposed to indicate a lot, but then they don't really do much more with it.
Well, because
other
then all
than
of a
it
sudden
confirms that like they're a little bit more than friends to each other, both of them.
Yeah. Well, because what's interesting is I guess they had a version. One of the things I saw in the trivia, now I'm remembering, is they did have a version where they had like graphic sex. But
really?
But I guess like she wrote a version where it was like that.
Oh, okay.
But Diablo ultimately landed on, I just think that they should kiss.
I'm glad it was just kissing.
Yeah, because I think then that for the story that she was writing, it felt like it made more sense. Like if they were going to do something, what they did made sense, because we were living in this world where it's like, it could be that they're both bisexual, whatever, but we needed to believe still that Needy is very much in love with Chip.
Yeah.
And if we went too far into like this crazy passionate thing, I think it would have made us not really give a shit if something happened to Chip as much.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas
totally
like I think we still need, this was a way of confirming that this codependency has shades of something more there. And I think perhaps Needy can't believe that her best friend is this gorgeous girl who's popular, whatever. And then I think maybe Jennifer has that part of her who is like kind of attracted to the girl who idolizes her like that.
Yes.
And but also that she's probably the most seen and known by her than anyone else, because Jennifer leads so much with boys with like one shade of herself, whereas Needy, love her or hate it, knows pretty much everything about her.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I feel like it was like there was something, the script just alludes to it so much, whereas like the movie just goes for it, which I think was actually better to just go like, okay, let's show that there is this other dynamic that's at play. And when she says like, when we used to play boyfriend, whatever, like, but then they didn't make it become like, that's the whole thing, because that wasn't this story fully.
Yeah. And in that way of not fully running it down the line and giving you some conclusion to what that means, it adds way more intrigue because and then the way Amanda Seyfried plays it is that the look on Needy's face when they making out and they stop, Jennifer goes back on the bed, and there's look over Needy's face where it's like it's like these shades of like, fuck, what's going on, but then also this kind of like relief of like, well, finally we can do this and release some of that steam.
Yeah.
And also like you see almost this validation for her.
Yeah.
For Needy. And then
isn't she the first one that
Needy
she breaks off and is like,
Needy, she's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then Jennifer's like, oh my God, Needy, you're so annoying. Like,
yeah.
I love the first line in that when she Needy gets into bed and then Jennifer's like, hi. And she's like, ah, she's screaming and she goes, oh my God, will you stop that? You're such a cliche. Like, I thought that was so funny.
So funny. So good. They cut like all the goth stuff out. There is a lot of
more goth
kid runners in this.
Colin and his friends. There's a whole funeral scene for Colin.
It's a lot.
That I'm so glad to make it. It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything.
It was just a comedic moment. It wasn't
because it's juxtaposed with like the mom being absolutely devastated and then kind of
devastated in a very comedic way.
Yeah,
it was
where
so
she's like
odd.
feeling snappy.
She kicks the guy, the coffin at one point to indicate like her son's in there. It's like you just.
But I wrote this one thing down because it was funny. This is all the way to page 90, but it says the goth girl who loved Colin wanders through the decorations and pops every balloon she passes with a pin. As she pops them, she narrates dramatically. Popping balloon, this is my heart. Popping balloon, my soul. Popping balloon, everything I once believed in. Another goth girl, looking exasperated, grabs a balloon, shoves it under her baby doll dress, and pops it. Mockingly, your abortion. She rapidly shoves another one under her dress and pops it, again smirking. Your other abortion. And then the other goth girl goes, I hate your guts, Madison. The girls glare at each other. Like, it was funny, but you don't miss it in the movie at all.
It's also like so, that's why it's like, this movie is a horror comedy, but the comedy's almost secondary because like, the vibe of the movie is so quirky and that kind of lends to the comedic element of it, but it's not like overt comedy.
No.
And
whereas
that
the script feels like a more like that.
Yeah, like a moment like that in the script is like pure comedy.
Totally.
Same with the funeral scene.
Yeah.
Very comedy.
Yeah.
I liked Chip's character description on page 12. It made me chuckle. It said, Chip drums on the sidelines of the Devil's Kettle High School basketball court. The stands are packed with bored students of a pep rally. Chip is 16, clean cut, and an awful drummer.
Yeah, it's so good because then when she's like, Jennifer would never go with the drummer. He's like, thanks. Like,
there's like little cheeky moments in the action that I really like. That's very Diablo Cody. Like page 15, it says, Needy wiggles her jeans a bit lower, exposing her childishly round tummy. She walks out of the bathroom into her bedroom, a frilly pink hell complete with canopy bed. Like, love that. DBB. Oh, I like the way that the interior of the bar was described. It says on page 19, it says, the Carousel is a rundown tavern at the edge of town, the kind with NASCAR posters, wobbly chairs, and strands of plastic pennants crossing the ceiling. It's a busy night and the bar is teeming with locals. A bartender sells a case of beer to a customer and passes it over the bar. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Like, that detail of like a case of beer, even though it's like so fleeting in the movie and it doesn't indicate that, like, it's such a passing thing. It does a lot
for the page.
Exactly. On the page, it tells you what kind of bar this is. This is a bar where you can go there, say, give me a case of beer, sit in the corner and drink 12 beers to yourself. Like, so like depressing in a way, but so good.
So good.
There's also a moment in the movie that's not in the script when they're at the bar. And it's when right after Needy and Jennifer talk to the band, and Jennifer's like, I'm going to go get you a drink. And she runs off to the bar. And Nikolai and the other band members are talking on stage, debating whether or not Jennifer is
a virgin. Yes.
And Needy overhears them talking about that. And in the script, Needy just overhears it and is like, ooh, they're creeps.
Yep.
In the movie, brilliant choice.
I wrote it down. I was like, nom, 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 nom.
It's so good because Needy in the movie decides, she overhears that.
Yep.
She goes up to the band. She goes, you're talking about my best friend, and you're right. She is a virgin, and you fucking like
she thinks by doing it'll save her.
But then, like the shades of that, like as a friend,
I know
it would make you feel so culpable.
I know it was such a smart choice. It was such a smart pivot.
It was
because the other version. It worked on the page where Needy because what happens in the script is Needy overhears it and immediately goes to Jennifer and she's like, they like kind of almost accidentally plays into her ego. She's like, they were talking about you. They think you're a virgin. She's like, oh my God, I haven't been a virgin. Like she doesn't see the threat there at all. Whereas instead her sticking her nose in, thinking she's making it better, but we're realizing, she's actually putting a target on her back.
Ugh. So
adds layers
good
that we didn't have otherwise. It was I loved that. And even then it made Jennifer trying to protect herself in the van. Yeah, I'm a virgin. I don't even know how to do sex. She thinks she's protecting herself. So it's like they both had the same instinct, which I liked too.
Loved. Yeah.
Such a good
I love that little callback too. Also, another moment of reverie for the way Jennifer played, the way Megan Fox played Jennifer in that trance throughout the whole bar sequence. It's like haunting. Like it says it on the page, like she's in this dreamlike state, but like it's not as jarring as it is in the movie because like you see that she's been possessed by whatever force this band has. And like, but then you also get like the comedy of like her being like, like she's like, why don't we go to my band and like my van? And the way she says in this very kind of like monotone, she's like, I want to see your van. I want to see your cool van. It's like sick and twisted and like you're like worried for her, but at the same time, it's like oddly hilarious. And then like the van that they drive, there's like they hit more of like the like creeper van thing on the page. But in the movie, my favorite thing they did with that was that after Needy gets home and Jennifer went off with these guys, Needy comes home. The first thing she does is call Chip. And she's like, the bar burned down, people are dead, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh my God, what happened? And she's like, yeah. And Jennifer's still with those creeps. She went in their van. I don't know where they are, what's going on. And he goes, did you get the make and model? And she goes, I don't know, Chip, an 89 rapist? Like,
it's so, but she delivers it so earnestly.
She's so dead
that
serious.
It's almost not funny because she's so freaked out.
Yeah.
But I also thought one thing that I really liked with Megan's performance, and again, it is on the page, but it did not hit the same way as how she did it. When she goes from like, I want to see your van, whatever, and you're almost going like, you're in Needy's position where you're going, like, oh my God, you need to get her. But then when she's like, Jennifer, and she turns around, she's like, just stop. All of a sudden, Jennifer's back, and she's being a bitch. She's like, just stop, to a point where like, I'm crazy enough that I probably still would have been like, get your, but it was enough for their dynamic for us as the viewer to go like, for Needy to go like, okay,
I always do what Jennifer says. As Chip says, he's like, you always do what Jennifer tells you to do.
But I thought it was really important that they went from that trance mode to like Jennifer's still in there, because the way she snapped at her was the only reason we believed that Needy would back off. Because if she was still just trance like going in, I think Needy would have ran in with her, honestly. But really because she snaps at her, it's like, okay, like fine. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to hear about this later. So like for real.
On page 31 to 32, it's the scene where Jennifer shows up at Needy's house. Again, third time I'm bringing this up. I fucking love this scene, but I want to read for the script babies what the action says. It's going to be a little long, but I just want you guys to see how she wrote it on the page because it is pretty fun. So they're in the kitchen and it says, utter silence, then a dripping sound. Needy looks down and sees large drops of blood splattering the linoleum. Jennifer continues to smile, staring directly at Needy. Jennifer lets out a horrifying banshee scream, wailing at the top of her lungs. She vomits a torrent of evil-looking black bile all over herself and Needy and staggers wildly down the hallway. The bloody black bile hits the wall, splashing a framed school portrait of Needy. Needy screams and watches in horror as it slides down the wall. The bile has hundreds of tiny spines sticking out of it, like little porcupine needles, and it appears to be moving by itself, oozing across the linoleum, creeping into the corners. It's truly revolting. Needy grabs Jennifer blindly and clasps a hand over her mouth. Jennifer falls to her knees. Her screams turn to jagged, insane laughter. Needy tries to run, but Jennifer grabs her and throws her against the wall with superhuman force, pinning her. Jennifer slowly, tantalizingly brushes her face against Needy's hair, her earlobe. Needy doesn't move a muscle. Jennifer's hand slides up Needy's ribcage. She presses her lips against Needy's carotid artery. We hear Needy's blood pumping, swishing. Jennifer, are you scared? Needy nods. Jennifer parts her lips. Then suddenly, she stops and pulls away, pushing Needy to the floor. Jennifer bolts out the front door and takes off running down the street. Needy is motionless for a moment, then stumbles towards the doorway. But she's long gone.
Okay, so here's what's interesting about that. Now, I don't know if it's because what's most recent in my brain is that I watched it, but like objectively, just taking that out of context, it is creepy and kind of disturbing. But I really feel, and this does not like happen to me often because I'm like a very present reader because like I take pride in really like being present with reading.
Yeah.
But so it made me feel kind of crazy that I missed so much of like things that are on the page like that. But I know myself well enough that I'm like, it has to be because the tone being set via the dialogue 99.9% of the time makes you see the action under a slightly different lens.
Yeah, totally.
Because when you're reading that by itself right now, I'm going like, yuck. But when I was reading it in context to the rest of it, I was like, yeah, that was definitely a moment where I was like, damn. But not in the same way that when you read it on its own, where I'm like, oh yeah, that is pretty close to what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just fascinating.
I do. One thing for me that I think could have made it more creepy on the page is that, and actually just a little bit further up at the bottom of page 30 going to 31, I noticed this. I didn't write this down, but I'm glad we're talking about it now, so I'll say what my note was. But when you're writing a horror script or you're writing a script with horror elements in it, I personally, one thing I like to do is anytime we're in a horror scary moment, I like to change the formatting of how that action's written.
Love that.
Because you keep it shorter, you leave more negative space for the eye, use some dashes to indicate like quick cuts, like change it up from what your dialogue for just a regular scene of friends talking would be.
I love that.
And because then it puts you consciously more in a different mindset because your mind's seeing that's written differently. You're seeing different formatting. So you know, like, okay, we're in a different kind of vibe here. And then you can also like, there's a moment at the top. It says interior Needy's house, front entry continuous. Needy opens the door. Nobody there. She slams the door, turns around and screams. Jennifer is standing in the dark hallway, looking ghostly pale and smiling. Her clothes are tattered and stained. Her entire front is soaked in blood. Her makeup is smeared, and her eyes are bruised and sunken like a zombie's. She looks horrifying, especially with that ghastly, clownish grin. All those are like scary images. But the thing is, I think you kind of take some of the hot air out of the balloon here when you say she slams the door, turns around, and screams. Screams is in all caps. Instead, what I would do is say she slams the door and turns. Then I would do like a dash, and then you would go to a line below it, and you would describe Jennifer's look in like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Because what I said, Jennifer standing there in a dark hallway looking ghostly pale, from that all the way down to clownish grin is one big paragraph.
Yeah.
And so if you're just indicating what Needy's seeing without even having to say POV or something, like the grin, the blood on her shirt, like indicating these little these little vignettes of what we're witnessing. So we're seeing it with her.
Yes.
And
I
then
love
breaking
that.
it up, because like even what I read before with like, letting out the horrifying scream and all that, it's in these more big blocky paragraphs of action.
Yeah.
And so that kind of bogs you down and energetically, because you're having to read more.
And and
it takes the urgency out of it.
And I also think too that like, again, it's one thing if your script doesn't have a ton of dialogue, but this script is so much dialogue.
Yeah.
That like dialogue does inform action a lot of times. That like we do transfer tone of dialogue onto action. Like,
oh, that's a really good point, girl.
And I think I just figured out maybe part of what it is. And part of it is like you said though, if you're going to take me out of that in a good way, I'm going to stop assuming tone from dialogue onto action. If you're writing your action in a way that is breaking it up.
And when it only happens in these specific moments. We know it's scary time now. Oh shit, what's going to come next?
And didn't Sixth Sense do that a little bit? They did a lot of caps work and stuff. Things were a little bit different a lot of times when there would be like the moment. Not always. But yeah, I think that's what I think I'm figuring out for myself. It was the tone I was transferring onto action was from the dialogue, that it made whatever I was reading, because it was written so similarly in lengthy.
It skews it as more comedic. Because the whole experience leading up to it is very comedic, whereas the movie skews more atmospheric and creep.
Yes.
Where with heightened peaks in between the valleys of creep.
I love that though. I love that idea of like breaking it up in a way that forces your brain to reset. It forces you to look at the page differently.
It's super fun as a reader, as a writer too.
And as a reader though, I would argue as a reader as well.
Oh, I think it's more fun as a reader to do that for someone, because it adds more style to your script. And then, like I said, subconsciously and consciously, it's going to put you in a different mindset when you see, the action's starting to look like it does when it gets creepy. Oh shit, what's going to go on here? And you kind of get your little Scooby-Doo ears up. But yeah. And
it's fun to play around with formatting like that. Like in this script I'm reading or writing right now, I am doing something totally different with texting.
Ooh.
Now, granted, it does take up a little bit more space, which that part is annoying because I'm trying to cut pages right now. But I will say visually, it's so pleasing because it really looks like how you would see a text. Like it, I really like it, but
You've mentioned that you did something different with text. I'm waiting to see what it is.
I did not like reinvent the wheel, but it's just different enough that I think it makes
I love good formatting.
But like it's very pleasing to the eye, and it takes you out in the way that it needs to for a second.
Writing text can be so annoying to figure out a clean, easy way to do it.
Truly.
It really is a challenge.
But I love that we're talking about formatting like this because, again, so much of what informs my Script Daddy scores with specifically the scripts versus the films is like I am always going to give a higher rating for a well-formatted script.
Yeah.
Always. Like that's always part of what I consider.
Well, because you have great writing, when you have great writing, the words are great and the sentences are structured really beautifully. That's all well and good, but formatting is one of the biggest secret sauces to a script. Like, look at Jaws. Like with this, I'm praising how specific she gets in moments, but it's moments.
Yeah.
In Jaws, highly specific, but a fucking user manual on sailing. And it's
but not boring. Because they're more a user manual would insinuate that you're learning.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
That movie assumed you were a shark and boating expert.
Yeah,
and yet still iconic. But yeah, no, I love what you're saying about that. Like that again, learn the industry standard first, but then when you really have that in there, it is fun to experiment, especially when you can look at a page and go, "Oh, this is really." clean is always going to do wonders for you,
Yes.
but there's a lot to explore with clean.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Play around with it.
Anyway.
Another one of my absolute favorite scenes. Iconic. When Jennifer calls Needy and she's like, I feel so scrumptious. Right after she had just killed Colin, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
And then the moment when she burns her tongue with a lighter is so visceral, but like, it's just so good. And the way she plays it, she's like so satisfied with herself. It's so good.
And it's a moment where it's extra pleasing because Jennifer is being Jennifer. Where you're like, this is a girl who would be the type that would light her tongue on fire and be like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like she would be going like, I'm having the best day ever. Boo, get over what happened at the
Meanwhile, they died the night before.
And she's like, but again, that's where Diablo, I'm gonna give it to you, girl. She built a character with Jennifer where you believe everything. You believe
you really do.
All.
You're the suspension of disbelief is so
fun.
effective.
It's fun because you're like, you never expect her to show remorse or to really care about anything. So then those tiny slivers where we see something behind are so satisfying, but it's also just fun to watch a girl who's kind of a bitch and kind of doesn't care and like watch her just do these outrageous things and be like, it's fun.
Yeah. And like, I love in that scene too, where like, so they're on the phone and then Chip calls Needy and he's like, hold on, let me put you on hold. She's talking to Chip, then she goes back and she's on the line with Jennifer. And the first thing Jennifer says is, I'm a god. And she's like, okay, like, I gotta go. Like, the acting in that scene is so fucking good.
I'm having the best day since Jesus invented the calendar. And she's like,
Jesus didn't invent the calendar.
Like that, like again, Diablo, good God. Like
Truly.
That's the gorgeousness of parsing that dialogue because what was kept was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
They really took the best morsels out of all the dialogue.
But again, that was what I also loved about moments like that is they showed Needy being genuinely like, what the fuck? Now, granted,
Needy's reeling.
The smart. What was also smart though is like that they showed the physical distance. They're on the phone.
Yeah,
we got to still be in the moment with both of them, but like they're not together, so we can see Needy be much more reactive with her face because she doesn't have to worry about Jennifer. But that being said, I liked that they played to the complexity of their relationship where it is not a relationship where Needy is fawning over Jennifer all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, she's often burdened by her.
Yeah.
But it's almost like it's almost like Needy has a curse where it's like, I have to care about Jennifer. I have to look out for Jennifer. I have to do what Jennifer says. Maybe, but then I feel like, maybe it is that. Maybe it is that. Even though I do think then I like the choice that they made for the sake of the story that if that's true, she's also in her own way in love with Chip.
Maybe not love, maybe just toxic infatuation.
Yeah.
And
obsessed. They're kind of obsessed with each other.
Yeah. In the script, she straight up says, like, Needy's character description is plain-faced. Amanda Seyfried could not be further from plain-faced. No. Like,
but this is so Hollywood, though. It's so also gorgeous. Like her round. Hello, both of those women are tiny.
But this idea that the adoration, the friendship she has with Jennifer sets Needy in a higher echelon within society than she would just on her own.
Totally.
So I feel like none of this is even explicitly or implied. This is all my own just like construction. But I feel like that's what it would be, like being that person who's best friends with the hottest, most popular girl in school. But they never even indicate that she's the most popular girl in school, but you kind of get the vibe.
They don't. But I also like that while Needy, her nickname is Needy, but that she has a boyfriend and she's like, they didn't go so tropey where it's like, she's this loner who no one will speak to. And they let her still like have some of her own world, you know what I mean? Totally. Which I liked because I was like, I get so over that when I'm like, can we show a little complexity in some of these characters? And I felt like this movie did, where like you said, we never see that she is the most popular girl in the school. It's just kind of inferred that she is the girl everyone either wants to be, kill, or fuck. Like it's like that we that's very clear.
Yeah.
But I liked that they didn't shy away from the complexity, even with Chip. And I think they did it better in the film where Johnny played it so grounded that you just kind of always thought that Chip's like a pretty good guy for the most part. He's just kind of like a little sweetie high school dude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like his line when he says
Phil Collins.
When he's like Phil Collins, and she's like, "Who's Phil Collins?" He's seminal, but
whatever.
But again, he played it. He on the page. I was like, man. But the way he's like, well, he's seminal. But no, his line where he goes, "Needy, I care about you a lot as a person, not just a girl I made love to for 4 minutes the other night.
Yes,
and I'm scared of what's happening to you. You're acting really fucked up, like."
Girl I made love to for 4 minutes.
4 minutes, and he delivers it so earnest and sincere.
Because on the page, it comes off as more comedic because you're reading it. But
he totally. I noticed that when I was writing.
He's like so earnest. He's like he really means it.
But they both are so earnest, and I think that's why you care when he dies because you're like. They don't have some crazy passionate thing going on, but they love each other and they care about each other, and they're both so fucking earnest.
Yeah,
that like
it's cute.
I can't. One of my favorite lines with Needy is like before they have sex. It's like Chip fumbles below his waist, obviously struggling with the condom. Needy leans forward for a closer look. Oh, it's got little bumps on it. I can hardly wait.
Yeah. I can hardly wait. That's so funny because it doesn't make it to the movie, but I thought that was such a silly little line.
And she's got Needy, they definitely peeled back. Granted, Amanda Seyfried still had some lines though where I was like, that's not an easy line to pull off, and she did.
Like when she says, "I don't tell whoppers and I'm not crazy." Whoppers?
But the way she delivered it, I was like, I believe it.
But
believe her 100%. But like one of hers, I have to read. So. In the script, she does not explicitly ask Chip not to go. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen. So she goes and then she's like waiting for him, isn't she?
Sorry, what's the
Needy goes to the dance and is waiting for Chip. So very different.
Oh, in the movie, yeah. In the movie, she
tells him don't go. In the script.
Oh yeah, she doesn't break up with him before.
No, she doesn't break up with him.
That's right. Yeah, mm-hmm.
She does. Well, she doesn't. The one thing that annoys me in movies, but this is just all movies where I'm just like, and the communication is so bad. She wasn't breaking up with him in the movie. She was saying we just need to not be in the same space for a little while. And he's like, you're obviously, and you're like, no. Anyway, that being said, not at all in the script. In the script, she's waiting for him at the dance, and it's taking a while. And so then she gets that feeling again that something's wrong, which I did love that, by the way. I did love that she had this
like psychic feeling. Yeah. It's like this connection with Jennifer.
Because I also think too, though, like, that's obviously a very specific way, but like we've talked about this before, like the closeness people have, like it's like you can have that with someone. Obviously,
girl, we have it all the time.
We have it all the time. We're reading each other's minds constantly.
All the time.
But anyway, so in the script, she realizes Chip is not there. She starts to worry, so she goes to Chip's house. And it says, Chip's mother appears and shoves Camilla aside. And Chip's mom goes, Needy, is something wrong? She goes, where's Chip? Chip's mom confused. He left for the dance at least 20 minutes ago. He certainly should have been there by now. And Needy goes, he walked? Mrs. Dove, you mean to tell me that in these dangerous, godless times, you let your only son walk alone at night? And then she goes, oh, wait, sorry, this was a different page. Never mind. But like, hello? Like, it wouldn't have worked, and they chose something so different that like it really wouldn't have worked. But again, on the page, your only son. You let your only son. So, but that's a whopper of a line to deliver. So I think it was like, again, it would have kind of taken you out of it a little bit. But I did very much enjoy reading.
Yeah, I did too.
God,
pages 64 and 65. It's when Colin is in the unfinished home and he's there to see Jennifer. So this is what it says when Jennifer is about to eat him. I love this. I love when you see horror imagery written out. It's so fun. It says, she slams him to the ground and mounts him. Her jaw unhinges, opening her mouth to a horrifying, inhuman degree. Her teeth are razor sharp and grotesquely crowded, like they belong to some horribly deformed dog. She descends on him, feeding ravenously. We see their shadows against the wall. Jennifer lunging hungrily, blood spraying up from Colin's jugular. We can hear him screaming and gargling on his own blood. And then we do some other stuff, and then we cut back. And this is my favorite horror imagery of this whole movie when she's drinking the blood out of his body. It says, Colin's thrashing limbs finally go limp. Jennifer is hunched over his remains like a jackal, scooping blood into her mouth with cupped hands. We see his eyes, flecked with blood, pupils dilated. A white mouse crawls over his face. Like, I just love her crouch there. Like,
oh yeah, and in the movie, it's
and
icky.
then like when we cut to Needy and Chip having sex in that moment, and she sees the jock dead in the chair, and then she's crouched there next to him. Oh, I love.
Did you like that they kind of made it, because this wasn't in the script? Did you like that they kind of made it seem like she was having an orgasm?
Yes, yeah.
But she was really like freaking out.
Am I too big?
Well, first he goes, "Am I hurting you?" Which is cute. And then he's like, "Am I too big?" And then she's
like
freaks.
proud.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh." But I loved that they kind of like, that is not in the script, but it was a fun, like, interesting choice to see that it was like a moment where Chip is totally like perceiving it totally differently, and she's really actually like absolutely freaked out.
I love. When they are so the whole sacrifice scene with Jennifer and Low Shoulder in the Script Babies, Low Shoulder is called Soft Shoulder.
Yes, I was like, it was so funny that like, what was the?
I'm guessing because maybe Soft Shoulder is not a used like term for like roads and stuff anymore. You always see Low Shoulder with those signs. I don't know. That was my guess. But
good guess.
So in the script, so if you've seen the movie, you know, they tie her up. They're being like so callous and flippant about the fact that they are murdering this girl. It's really chilling. But then they still break it up with comedy in this fucked up way. Like you have him, like he's like, go get the ritual. Yeah. And like he brings it and he's like, it's just like a piece of printer paper. And I'm like, oh, that's it. And he's like, whatever, I found it on Google. And like, that's funny. But then like, you have these little comedic moments of, oh, do you want to be working there? Or do you want to be like the guy from Maroon 5? He's like, oh, Maroon 5. He's like, okay, well, we're going to do this. And then in the script, before he starts stabbing her, he sings an excerpt from David Bowie's Starman. Mm-hmm. But in the movie, they sing that 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9, 9. And it's like so deeply disturbing.
Yes.
The fact that they are joyously singing this as he's like violently stabbing and mutilating this girl.
Yep.
It's so like, oh, ickified.
Absolute ickus.
But like, also like love it. Like it shows.
It was a better song choice.
They're
for sure.
already like so sadistic and gross and like beyond, you know, ever being redeemable, that like something like that just solidifies how fucked up they are even more.
She did
you just can't wait to see them get killed.
They're in it so little, and yet she did a very good job at never wasting a line with them, where it was like every moment they were in was furthering what you needed to know about them. Like even when they cut to the van and she's like, she's kind of freaked out and she asks like, where are we going? And he goes, you don't need to talk. Like he does it in that shit guy way where he's making it sound like, hey, don't worry about it. You don't need to talk. But he's really saying, shut the fuck up. But the delivery and the writing of that was so good that again, they're barely in it, but the moments they're in are potent and gross. Like
Adam Brody ate that shit up.
He really
I also felt so bad for Jennifer. Like the way that Megan Fox plays her in that van scene is so sad. You feel so helpless and just like terrified. And just like, ugh.
She really gave quite a performance in this film.
She really did, because Jennifer before that, Jennifer is like this kind of bitchy girl, and like who you wouldn't necessarily feel so sympathetic towards, but then you see her in this moment and she's just this scared child, and it's like, oh. It's so heartbreaking and sad. One of the most iconic shots in the movie it was used across like promotional and everything. The moment where she's swimming in that lake.
It's so iconic. It's
just the cinematography, the music cue of it, like that, like hard rock, and like she's swimming.
The soundtrack.
And she looks so gorgeous, and she's like fresh faced, and like, I love moments in horror movies where you get to feel like, fuck yeah, for the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like she just murdered a teenager, ate him, left a whole trail of destruction in her wake. But then like we see this shot of her reveling in her hotness and like the fact that she's this monster. And like we talk a few other times about like how like her body's like more warm now that she's a demon. And then you see like, it's not in the script or anything, but when there's a close-up, the steam coming off her body.
So cool.
Which is, I just love it. It's such like one of those like delicious moments that you're just like, this is why I love this movie.
100%. I know. And also just like that feeling of like swimming like in a clear lake like that, like cool water, naked,
just,
like so good, so
love.
good, and it's great cuts of her getting out, and like it is one of the best. It absolutely is one of the best shots of it.
Then one of the last things I want to mention is amongst all the other iconic dialogue for Jennifer, like. In the scene at the end, after she kills Chip harpoons her with a pool skimmer thing. She pulls it out and she's like sitting there bleeding, holding her stomach. And she looks at Needy and she goes, "Do you have a tampon?" Needy shakes her head no. She goes, "Oh, just figured I'd ask. You seem like you might be plug-in."
It's
plug-in.
So good. And she delivers it so good.
And it's like one of those lines is like really like, I'm not only, but like, it's like, this is hyperbolic, but like only a Diablo Cody could really pull that off. Like it's just so her DNA of writing that.
100. Well, even that when she kills her and she's like, "My tit." And
my
she's like,
tit,
and
yes.
she's like, "No, Jennifer, your heart. And you're like, it hits. It works.
My tit.
My tit.
I love that moment.
Because Megan Fox is really good at doing that mouthy thing. Or it's like, my tat. It's like it lives out here. Everything's kind of like out. And no, your heart. It's so. I did write I can like go through really quick, but on page 102 to 103, I was like, this to me is like the highlight, like the peak of, again, this didn't all make it to the film, but it's like, it's creepy, but the dialogue is just not what we would expect at all. It's like fresh and funny, and it's girl drama playing out in like the absolute highest, most unhinged way. Ooh. Where they're in the pool, the gross, whatever. And Jennifer goes, "Fuck this JV shit." And it says Jennifer rockets straight up into the air like a goddess, hovering 10 feet above the pool. Her eyes burn. Her skin is corpse-like. She's drenched from head to toe in prickly ooze. Chip goes, "She can fly." And Edie goes, "She's just hovering, Chip. It's not that impressive." That they keep, which I was so glad they did. And then it says Jennifer speaks in a metallic, demonic sounding voice. That they got rid of.
Yeah, they did.
Jennifer goes, "God, do you have to undermine everything I do? You're such a player hater." Needy glares at Jennifer, surprisingly fearless. Needy goes, "You're a jerk." Jennifer goes, "Nice insult, Lizzie McGuire. Got any more harsh digs?" I believe this is all in there. But then Needy goes, "You know what? You were never a good friend ever. Even when we were little, you used to steal my toys and pour lemonade on my bed and make me play Ugly Ashley when we played Barbie." And Jennifer goes, "And now I'm eating your boyfriend. See, at least I'm consistent." Yes. And then Needy goes, "Why do you need him, huh?" She begins to weep. "Why do you need the one guy who's ever liked me? You can have anyone, Jennifer. The cutest guy in school, the mailman, a teacher. You could probably even have a huge star like Chad Michael Murray. So why Chip? Why him? Is it just to piss me off, or is it because you're insecure?" That, or again, I'm like,
I am not.
Yeah, she goes, "I am not insecure." God, what a joke. How could I be insecure? I was the snowflake queen. And Needy goes, "Yeah, 2 years ago when you were socially relevant." And she goes, "I'm still socially relevant." And Needy goes, "You were skinny then too." A look of abject horror on Jennifer's face. She reels back against the chain link fence, her eyes blazing. "I'm going to eat your soul and shit it out," Lizinski or whatever. Like, a lot of that's in it. But again, this is another great example. On the page, the Chad Michael Murray, I laughed out loud.
It's so funny.
It would have been too wordy for the moment.
Yes.
The actual moment benefited from exactly what they chose to keep and what they didn't. Because then it made, like you said, that line of like, "You seem like you're a plug-in," so much funnier.
Yeah.
But on the page, the Chad Michael Murray, I literally laughed out loud.
Yeah. It's so funny. I love that
because Needy's
scene.
just at her wit's end.
Yes.
That she's like you could have a mailman, a teacher, Chad Michael Murray. It's
Murray.
Such a niche, funny, but of the time, oh my God, it made me laugh. But again, shouldn't have been in the film, and it wasn't in the film.
Just Jennifer saying, "Yeah, and now I'm meeting your boyfriend. See, at least I'm consistent." Like, it's like this teenage girl fight, but in the context of murdering people. It's just so insane. Funny. That's like the great juxtaposition of this movie.
Yes.
That it's teenage drama, but with like the stakes of someone being demonically possessed and like a cannibal now. Like,
but still having like a sense of humor, which is the genius of it.
God, it's so fun.
Also, the change that like the first line of the film, and this is not the script, "Hell is a teenage girl."
Yes, God. That line, that opening line.
And with everything going on is so...
Not in the script, but...
It's not in the script, but God, so it's good. It just sets you up where you're like, oh, where are we going? Where are we going? let me see. Do you have anything else? I'm trying to see if I
I
have any
do not.
One of my phrases that I'm now going to take with me. This was not in the script, but Megan delivered it like a goddamn champ. When she hasn't eaten anyone in a while and she kind of looks like shit at school and Needy's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "No, I feel like boo-boo."
Like boo-boo, yeah.
The
I
way
love it.
she's like, because she kind of throws it away, but the way she's just like, "No, I feel like boo-boo."
She's annoyed because she hasn't had a man to eat.
But like boo-boo,
Boo-boo.
boo-boo, I was like,
It's
oh,
so
I'm
good.
absolutely gonna use I feel like boo-boo.
Yes.
I don't know, it was so simple, but I just like absolutely loved it.
She has a way of creating slang that is so unique and fun.
Absolutely.
I love.
Absolutely. My last one was that when Chip says when he's about to die, "I think I already died before you got here, but I woke up when I heard your voice." That actually got me emotional.
Yeah.
Which again was furthering the point of why they needed to cut so much of the funny.
Exactly.
Because it did not land. It lands and it did not take away from anything else it added. It only added. And again, like you have to be like surgical with this shit and very smart, which they really fucking were, because this movie would not have worked if you were throwing like a ton of heart in all the time.
Yeah.
They were so surgical. I'm literally picturing Operation, that fucking game, so operational about it. But perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They really did. They mined the gold.
Because it made you understand even more why she was going to go kill Jennifer, which I think you needed. Because you're watching this relationship play out that it's so hard for her to ever go up against anything Jennifer does. But the final straw was, you killed my fucking boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no remorse about it at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you went out of your way to kill the person that loves me and that I like. And so allowing that moment to actually hit makes us go like, go get her. Yeah,
because they even set that up in the beginning with her going after Colin, because Colin asks her out in the hallway and she says she denies him. But then when Needy says, well, he's actually a really nice guy and he's cool, and she's like, oh, you like him? She's like, hey, Colin.
Yeah.
So you just see these moments like another classic teenage trope of the way kids do that to each other.
And how insecure Chip always is about Colin. Always like, saw you were talking to Colin. Like, it's so
cute.
Oh, okay. My daddy do's and don'ts, I felt like I was so in a world of like, that I was there. I don't think these are my strongest. I just like, they kind of, we found one in the wild, but what was your daddy do?
I have 4 daddy do's.
Oh, mine are short.
And
so
one daddy don't.
I'm just going to spit mine out because mine are very short. My daddy do, honestly, is follow your unique story. Like this, and I know I've said that before, but really this movie is a testament to just like follow that fucking weird ass concept that you have. If it's authentic to you.
Yeah.
We can all smell I plucked this out of nowhere because whatever bullshit, but I'm saying like if you really have a weird, interesting idea, go full bore, explore it and see, because this movie, while the audience took a while to find it, the audience is there. It is now looked at as a movie that people really do love and appreciate. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. You got to follow what lights you up. And this lit her up. And while I'm so angry and sad that people were so awful that Diablo Cody needed to get therapy about it, that being said, I hope she feels a little vindicated that it is so found its audience now. And that one of the lead actresses was saying, this is my favorite project I've done, because what an opportunity for the actors, like truly.
Absolutely.
All of them. Yeah. All of them. So that is really my only daddy do. You want to do your daddy do?
Period, yes. Here's my
Tell us, daddy.
I have 4 daddy do's. Daddy do number 1. Daddy do play with quirky dialogue if it comes natural to you. The secret sauce of Diablo's writing, in my opinion, has always been her tongue-in-cheek, off-kilter dialogue. She combines, recontextualizes, and 100% fabricates totally new words in such a way that it left a deep impression on entertainment ever since her smash hit Juno. Jennifer's Body took that a step further, leaning in even more and providing us with so many golden one-liners that I still use to this day, my favorite of which is Jennifer's line on page 19 when she says to Chip, you're totally jello, you're lime green jello, and you can't even admit it. What sets Diablo's screenplays apart is not just the novel use of slang, but the fact that it doesn't feel forced. It's a natural extension of her voice on the page. If you can find that for yourself or some element like it, you'll create a kind of writing DNA that's uniquely yours. However, if the actor can't execute the line perfectly, it will probably be of better service only on the page, indicating tone. So I did keep that. I thought I took that out, but I did keep it. Daddy do number 2. Daddy do be oddly specific to highlight random comedic moments. Just like her iconic dialogue, Diablo is also great at shining a brief, though targeted spotlight onto specific items, sounds, and imagery in order to drill home her unique brand of comedy, atmosphere, and suspense. Here's 3 different examples. Page 38. This is the action. We see a group of goth girls splayed against their lockers in full regalia. One wears an accordion for no reason. Like, so specific. An accordion? What the fuck? That made me laugh. I was like, that's so random. Because, like, again, they set up these goth girls, but then she subverts that image with an accordion. And so randomly specific that it puts you even more deeply into it in your mind's eye. It's so wild. Page 7, it says, outside the house, the bushes rustle. Needy is crouched below the window. We hear the pulsing of her heart as if via ultrasound. It's a wet, rhythmic sound. Sploish, sploish, sploish. That does make it to the movie. After at the end, she kills her. And when they're laying on the bed, you hear this like ultrasound, like heartbeat, which is so odd. And on page 31, it says, the bile has hundreds of tiny spines sticking out of it, like little porcupine needles, and it appears to move by itself, oozing across the linoleum, creeping into the corners. It's truly revolting. Specificity of all kinds helps to draw your reader into the scene, making them participants. However, do this within reason. Don't go giving us paragraph after paragraph of highly specific prose like we saw in Jaws.
Oh, God bless you, Jaws.
God bless you.
It's true.
Yeah. Daddy do number 3. Daddy do give us clean, easy to understand magic. I particularly like the explanation for why Jennifer's sacrifice went wrong. When you have a magic act gone wrong as the crux of the drama, give your readers the why with as little friction as possible. Diablo summed up the reason Jennifer became a demon in such a way that provided dramatic irony and gruesome comedy, and I personally think it's some of the most effective writing in the entire script. How she described that. And then Daddy do number 4. Daddy do create a captivating title for your story. Jennifer's Body is such an evocative title that activates your imagination on multiple levels. The title is one of the most important ingredients for a movie, and this is an example where I think the movie title directly heightens the impact of the film. And I will die on that hill.
No, I agree.
Titles are one of the ways that stories come to me. I'll sometimes get a really great title and I'll build a whole story around it because I'm like, I fucking love that.
I love that you have it that intense because
I love a title.
I'm a freak for a good title, but I never have a title until I'm halfway through a script, if not further. Like I can't fathom a title first, and yet I love that you have had that experience. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's fun. What's your daddy don't?
My daddy don't was let your dialogue drown out your story. Now again, it's contradictory because I also think there's such fantastic dialogue in here. But I said, read it out loud and cut where you can. The movie benefited so much from the chopping that was done or rewriting some of the wordy, punchy line jokes into more normal back and forth that were more subtle, but then queued up the funnier moments where specifically if it's comedic, that is really works. But even like with the drama, with like the script that I'm writing right now, like I'm really having to cut pages and I'm looking at moments of going like, this doesn't it works on the page, but you really don't need it. And but specifically with this film, there's too many moments where we're going. It's like boxing. It's like hit after hit after hit after hit that I almost at times felt exhausted on the page where I almost felt like I was like running to keep up with something. And now I'm realizing how much that affected the way I was taking in the film and the action. When now it's kind of blowing my mind. Every time you were reading an excerpt of the action, I was like, on its own, it's so good, but also just sounds so different when it's not right up against punch after punch of humor.
Yeah.
So
true.
That's mine is just don't, find the funny, but don't hit us over the head with the funny.
Totally. Yeah. And also to mitigate some of that, play around with different formatting to distinguish the comedic parts from the horror parts.
Yes.
Unless you have a full horror comedy where the horror is the comedy. In this, like they have moments of that, but like there's other movies where it's more square, like funny gore stuff like that.
No, this
whatever.
one's like legit creepy.
There are, yeah, absolutely. My one daddy don't is daddy don't give paragraphs of unformatted action. While this script isn't dense by any means, the reading experience could have been more heightened with some more creative formatting. These paragraphs of action throughout the script, and sometimes there's paragraphs of action throughout the script, and sometimes it slowed down the story and hindered the dramatic impact of certain sequences. But yeah, that's it.
And that's Jennifer's.
Jennifer's bidet.
We're going to go back down to this register.
Yes, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening, Script Babies.
Yes, if you didn't know already, Script Babies, we are on YouTube. Watch us on YouTube and enjoy.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We're on YouTube now. Like, you can see us.
Yes, we're looking at the camera right now. So
Hello,
if you're watching
darling.
on YouTube, hello, thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Do you like my red socks? If
I
you're
do.
If you're just listening, you don't know that I'm wearing red socks
with a
with
little
a
face. A little face on the sock saying hello.
See, now we're creating tension. We're making we're storytellers here. We're making you want to go.
Tension.
Sexual tension.
Yes,
it's a
with
red
our sultry
sock.
voice. What's underneath those red socks?
What face
Did
is
that
on the
little
sock?
piggy go to market yet? Okay, on that note.
Did that little piggy? You're goddamn right, she did.
Sure did. My little piggy's barfing up black goo.
Oh my God. Okay, we love you.
Love you.
See you next time.
Okay, bye. Thank you for listening to Script Daddy. Script Daddy is executive produced and hosted by Carly Casey and Colin Moretz, with additional production assistance from the incredible Scott Simmock and our amazing sound mixer, Ryan Fee. Our artwork was done by Josh Alvarado.
If you love Script Daddy as much as we do, please tell your friends. Follow us on your preferred podcast platform and give us a rating and review. It really, really helps. We love you, Script Babies. For all inquiries, please email scriptdaddypodcast@gmail.com.